you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters. And then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. So now we're watching this incredible series for the second time, picking up on all those things there's no possible way we could have picked up on the first time around.
We are still doing the thing that we do. Jeff, I have to tell you, this is something that has started permeating me in other podcasts I do. What? Brent does podcast outside of Bad Nerds? Yeah, so do I. And I'm sure Jeff does every once in a while too.
Yep.
It happens. we do that and we cheer each other on.
We have an open podcasting relationship.
We do. Although you're still my boo. You're still my main squeeze.
We're still primary.
Oh my God.
I think that's what they call it, I think.
Yeah, there it is. But this has become so ingrained in what we do that I have started doing this with other shows that have nothing to do with sci-fi, that have nothing to do with anything even related to what we're doing here. I just find myself searching for those sci-fi messages, asking what episodes are about and what they're trying to tell us. You know, are they holding up a mirror to society? Are they giving us hope that things can be better in the future? Or are they just telling us how to be better human beings to one another, which, oh my gosh, we could certainly use more of that. Now, that being said, a word of warning to anybody who is joining us who has not seen Babylon 5. This show is specifically for folks who have been all the way through the series. Jeff and I actually have the perfect show for you. It's called Babylon 5 for the first time. This is for the second time. Trust us, it's better this way. Stop this right now. Go listen to our episode on Acts of Sacrifice from the first one. When you get all the way through the series, trust us, you're going to want to do the second watch. Do this one then, because from here on out, this show is full of spoilers. That one was no spoilers. This one has all the spoilers from any point in the franchise, canon, non-canon, on screen, off screen, whatever it is. We have fair game, fair access to talk about anything from this point forward. You have been warned.
And with that in mind, we are watching the episode Acts of Sacrifice for the second time this week.
Yeah.
When we watched this the first time, Brett, I got to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot about this one. I remember is for our audio listeners behind Brent, he's got a picture from the episode, and
yeah,
it's Ivanova with her, the Lumati diplomat, and that was the thing I remember.
You remembered that name?
Well, I got some stuff that sticks around for me, but yeah, this one didn't leave a huge impression on me, to be honest. There's that whole Ivanova line, and then I think there's some Londo stuff in this one. Do you remember what you thought of this one?
I'm going to read you my note here exactly, which, by the way, I write these, like I do these a season at a time, and I try to remember what that is. So here's what I wrote. I don't even remember this title. I got nothing. It wasn't until I started doing like the research on it that I was like, oh, that's what happens. And even still doing the research, the only thing I really remember is the whole Ivanova thing. Now, we remember this scene. We talked about this scene throughout the run of the first time. Every once in a while. We revisited it every once in a while. I couldn't have told you it came from this episode. I honestly couldn't tell you what else happens in this episode, and that's after doing the research on it. I really don't remember anything about this episode outside of Ivanova really making a fool out of herself. And I remember the conversation we had surrounding that, which was it's something I think people should hear.
I think so too. We had a really good conversation around it.
Yeah.
In fact, I just listened to it. Would you like to hear some of the highlights from that listen?
Was there any highlights from that listen?
There's a couple.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
First off, your comment on the episode was it said a lot, but it didn't do a lot. And you did not like, and you're thinking, I don't like this at all. You did not like this episode at all.
Did I not like it? but I didn't hate it either. Like I just had like no feelings towards it, or like did I not like it and I really didn't like it?
You really didn't like it.
Okay.
And you acknowledged it's saying some things. Like we had a pretty intense, like you just alluded to, conversation around messages and things like that.
Yeah.
I stated that your recap, for those of you who for some reason didn't listen to our first time go around, one of the popular segments of that was we would write these really fun recaps. And my statement was that your recap was much more exciting than the episode itself. You you said this all has to come around to the redemption of Londo Mollari. And it better happen sooner than later. I really hope this doesn't stretch on for seasons and seasons.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wake up, Brent. Guess what? Nailed that one.
It's going to take a little bit for that to come around.
Spoiler alert. It literally takes the rest of the show.
I said the very ending of the series will either be us getting to finally see Kosh, and we'll learn that all of this stuff was being kind of puppet mastered by the Vorlon all along, or it's going to be the conclusion of the story of Londo. My statement was Babylon 5 is the story of Londo Mollari.
Jeff, you couldn't have nailed that. We have heard that so many times from other Babylon 5 fans when we got to the end of like, hey, really, the story of Babylon 5 is the story of Londo Mollari. And it starts with his voice at the very beginning of the gathering. And it really goes all the way. It is his story in many, many aspects. And that's true. I would agree with you. High five to you, Jeff, for nailing that. Let's get this one.
Nothing cooler than high five and white guys.
Nothing cool about that at all.
You were very angry, like very angry, that Ivanova is wearing only one earring, and we're just supposed to accept that with no backstory, no context, or anything like that.
I still agree. I love that they have that out there. I love that's a character thing. We need the backstory and context. Guess what? We have it now.
Yeah, it comes along after quite a while. We got to wait till the movies for that. So then, Brent, we talked a lot about the scene behind you, the Lumati as a culture, and then the sealing of the deal. We talked, it kind of sums up, and we said that Ivanova's response to the whole thing was very smart, and it was absolutely ridiculous that she even had to engage in it in the first place.
Absolutely. I still believe that.
We had an interesting conversation, though, where you talked about if sealing the deal in the way that they do it is part of their culture, we don't want to take anything away from that culture, right? Like, what do you do when something is so repulsive and wrong to you through your cultural lens, but it's appropriate and right for theirs? Like, who are we to question those things? And we had a pretty deep dive conversation around that, like honoring the things in other cultures that don't seem right to ours.
I mean, that's a conversation that sci-fi, I think, is uniquely situated to engage in.
Absolutely.
And sci-fi does it best. Star Trek does that one all the time. You can pull that one through so many different sci-fi series out there, and Babylon 5 really puts that on display in many different situations.
A few weeks ago we saw it with the Drazi, right? And like, how can you do this thing? So good conversation. I look forward to us possibly diving into some of that when we watch it this time as well. You, sir, though, scoured the internet for things that Joe Michael Straczynski might have said about this episode. What did you find?
In talking about just having written this episode, he talks about the title of it. And he says this: despite its rather ominous title, this is just a slice of life episode. He did say, though, it contains probably the funkiest, weirdest sequence I have ever written. Full tilt wacko. I'm assuming that's this sequence right here.
Probably, yeah.
It's the Illuminati, the Lumati sequence with Ivanova. By the way, the Lumati are, I don't have it in my note here, but I'm sure that I saw he said that's the same thing. In fact, because he invoked the names of Newt and Dole.
Really?
Talk about where this came from. And I'll leave that to any of you political historians out there to know who those two people are. He does talk about Londo. I like what he had to say here. He says, Londo is a fascinating character to explore. It's the most careful balancing act of the entire bunch. Part of the character's appeal is that on a very fundamental level, you like him. Hey, you know what? I loved Londo.
100%.
I still love Londo. you don't want to see him on this terrible slide downward. And that's, I mean, you're just watching him careening downwards, and you're like, stop. Every so often, though, you have to pull him back and go in a different direction. Remind us of his basic humanity and potential for heroism. He is really any of us caught in a web of events spinning more and more out of control every day, which for all the stuff that Londo is at fault at, for all the things that he has to take responsibility for, and he does take responsibility for them.
Ultimately, he does. Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder, because I don't think that my personal life experience is unique. I feel like my personal life experience is actually rather common to the human experience. I understand what it is that to have a web of events that spins more and more out of control every day, and you're just doing your best. That truthfully, at the core of your being, you are a good person. You want to be a good person, but things in life and circumstance, things happen and you make crappy choices every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, man, that was a really bad decision you just made. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person.
It's interesting because
You
I think
know?
about, the idea, it's been interrogated in a lot of different sci-fi, but the idea that, when things are great, it's easy to uphold your values that you espouse and all those things. And when things get hard or you get sucked into a thing like that,
Yeah.
that's what really separates the wheat from the chaff, as it were. And, with Londo specifically, what we see is him stuck in this web of events.
Yeah.
And consistently not being able to stick. Well, it's interesting, right? Because he sticks to oftentimes the Centauri values that he was raised with, but we know that Londo holds a different set of values that he kind of lets go. But we get to watch like that battle between the two sets happen, and then eventually he wins out. But wow, so many people die in that wake.
It left a lot of wake. I feel like this could be an entire podcast unto itself, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it really, reading what JMS said about this piece of Londo, I just think there's so much to talk about with Londo Mollari as a character, his character arc, and what it says to the human experience. But I love this idea. You've got to pull him out every once in a while and remind you that actually he's a good dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means in today's episode. I really don't remember. So I'm excited actually to see what we're going to do. There was a question that someone asked. If Sheridan had been the one to show the Lumati around.
We talked about this in our discussion.
Oh, did we?
Too. Yeah, yeah.
What'd we say?
Is this because it's an Ivanova, a female thing, or is this a Sheridan thing? And we were almost like, if this was Sheridan doing the thing and he was doing the same thing, that prompted us on the conversation of who are we to question someone else's culture?
Okay. Let me provide a definitive answer for that.
Okay.
From the man himself. Yes. If Sheridan had been the one to go around, he would have been the one who was propositioned.
Okay. So it is truly a cultural thing.
It's truly a cultural thing. And to that, he taught, let's hear, I don't think I got it down here. I didn't write it down, but basically he talked about how throughout human civilized history, this is how a lot of deals have been sealed over time.
Really?
Egyptian culture, medieval culture, lots of other cultures. He's this, that, and the other. This is how they seal a lot of deals. I mean, especially when you think marriages and stuff, ultimately, is that not really what it becomes down to, right?
That's true. Consummating the marriage, right?
Consummating the marriage is certainly a big piece of that, right?
To think that socially that's just all evolved into a handshake. Wow, we've missed out on so much.
Well, and and the other side of that, again, I've recently been thinking a lot about, just because those who are in America, how much even still today we are still trapped by our puritanical origins.
Absolutely.
As Europeans here in America. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of our culture really carries over from the Puritans, and not necessarily, and we just sort of think this is the way the world is, right? And that's not necessarily it. I think we are ensconced in that more than we would even realize, but it's our culture. And who are you to say that our culture is wrong?
Right.
With that, he does confirm one more thing. The Narn were not in space prior to the Centauri arriving. Most of their space tech is basically leftover stuff from the Centauri.
Fascinating.
Like where they pulled out. So
it's almost like the Centauri are the ones popping in, like they're hitting these planets and pulling people onto the galactic stage, because it was the same thing with Earth.
But that's all I got here from JMS. So Jeff, I think with that, it's time for us to go watch an episode.
It's time. Yes, it is. I'm excited for this, folks. If you're joining us for the very first time, what's about to happen is we're going to watch the episode. We're going to pull it up. We're going to sit here. We're going to watch it with you. We're going to talk about it. We're going to react to things that are happening, all that good stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see kind of the cut up, edited version, the reaction video style of this. If you want to see the full and unedited version, also, if you want to possibly be a part of these recordings, as our council chambers are every single time are invited to be a part of it, we'll mention things that they say throughout the viewing. You can head over to our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/Babylon5 first. That's the number 5 and the word first.
And hey, listen, if you're catching us on an audio podcasting app, because ultimately this has always been a podcast first and foremost, Jeff, you're going to hear the audio from that YouTube video. We don't want you guys left out so that you guys can hear the full conversation, because sometimes the conversation will happen mid-episode.
Yep.
And we won't save it for the end. So we'll get you guys that. But after that, again, you guys will hear the conversation that we have going on there. So, Jeff, let's do a thing.
Let's do it. Let's start up. We're relying on other people's tech support. It's a very Star Wars looking shot right there.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is just season 2.
Right? Yeah.
How beautiful is
environmental control?
Look at that ship, right?
this? Is what, 95?
It didn't make it out with the rest.
Truck, how many?
700.
Shruck? That's a new one.
Centauri forces closing on their position.
I'm gonna start working that in.
Point open.
That's better than frack.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Shruck.
I'm so glad they put cameras on the bridges of those ships
of my people died
and
in the battle.
outside.
And had cuts, you know, and good
Centauri
lighting.
attacked without warning, despite their promise not to strike civilian targets. Supreme sacrifice to save the colony's civilian population.
Why is he saying this to a
Centauri
bunch of
slaughtered
Earth Alliance people and not the
females,
council?
Children, the old, the infirm, everyone.
Everyone in this room knows too well that the first casualty of war is always the truth.
Oh, it's big.
Unfortunately, the rest tend to be too small or too weak to defend themselves.
In fact, I would say it's what leads to war.
Yeah.
I like this too because it's setting up the expectation that they're going to come out to support the Narn, and then
Sheridan,
here in a
talk
couple
to me.
episodes,
That ship you've been waiting for is about to come out of hyperspace, Captain.
Do whatever you have to. Just get them to sign up.
do whatever you have to. Ominous,
Thank you, sir.
ominous words.
So to this whole thing, apparently Claudia came to JMS at the start of year 1 and asked to do more funny stuff in her role.
Okay.
Now, they were already in production on a lot of the scripts for year 1, so they couldn't change a ton there. Didn't want her to change anything in the story, just let her have some more fun before all hell breaks loose in season 3. So what we're watching is Claudia getting her wish.
It's very much a be careful what you wish for kind of story.
I love JMS. I mean, similar to the story with Londo and the hair and stuff like that, he allows these actors to have influence over their characters.
Yeah.
Because as he says, who knows these characters better than the people who are embodying them and living them out?
Yeah.
Which is great.
It's difficult for anyone to come to your aid now.
That's interesting. Sins of the past.
What else?
Talk about that, Jeff.
You know, it's what we're watching is a clear atrocity, right? And Delenn just outright said that. They're willfully killing civilians. And you would think an enlightened people would be like, no, we can't let that happen. You have to intervene in some way. But because of things that G'Kar has said, actions that he and his government have gone through, they're like, no, you don't get that help. Yes, it's wrong, but you don't get the help. I have really mixed feelings about that. And I think part of it is, I think that both G'Kar and Delenn are looking at this in a very binary sense. Either you don't support in the war at all, or you fully support the Narn. I think there's a space in there of, hey, we're going to deploy ships and we're going to monitor the civilian populations or transports or whatever and intervene if they're attacked. Like there are more options, but they're both just being very dualistic in their thinking.
What is it when a tragedy occurs? No victim is ever responsible for the acts of a perpetrator.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. There are times when people bring stuff on themselves. You feel me?
Mm-hmm, I'm following.
There are times when words you say, actions you do, things like that, lead others or open the door to others making their bad choices that they are solely responsible for and you are not.
Correct. Yeah. There. I didn't say this thing. I didn't wear this thing, which made this thing happen. No, they made the choice 100%.
And it's their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that did it. And the act that they just committed is a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because of the words you spoke and the actions you have taken, this is where you're exposed. Maybe you're exposed. That might be the better way to put it. And we can't cover you on this one. It's a real weird spot. Like,
yeah,
this thing should never happen. It's not okay. You kind of did it to yourself, though. But you're not responsible. Like I don't know how this is like that. These are two diametrically opposed things that live together and are intertwined. And it's a really weird thing because Delen's basically saying, yeah, all your people are innocent, all this, but because of what you've done, what you've said, and the words you've spoken, you've cried wolf too many times. And
yeah, I still really feel like that's just either or thinking. You know, I mean, I think even if we take it out of this war situation, I think that people and societies can make decisions that protect the innocent, the civilians, the victims, without coming in and having a stake in the conflict itself. You can't, for example, in some of we have so much war happening across the globe right now, and multiple nations have come together to try to, we're going to carve a pathway so we can get food and medicine and humanitarian aid to just the people trying to live their lives. We're not going to touch your military stuff. You all do your thing, but we're going to take care of them. In this situation, I think you could. We're going to patrol, right? We're going to be out around where these things are happening. If you call, we will come, but we are not getting involved in your conflict. We will protect these civilians that aren't a part of it, even if their government said things that put them into this situation. I think they're still victims, and I think that I think everyone can do better in protecting victims. And it's the either or thinking that stops us so often.
Yeah. And I think the biggest difference, and I'm with you 100% on what you just said, the biggest difference there is people who are having something perpetrated on them because of what somebody else has done and said versus what they themselves have done and said.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think you and I probably are relatively aligned on what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's where the separation comes is.
Yeah. And I think in this situation, for those people on the transport, it's stuff Jakar said. It's stuff the Kari decided and did. Yeah. These are people just trying to get away or trying to go on vacation, or whatever it is they're trying to do.
Interesting piece all the way around.
There is nothing to mediate Delenn.
Yeah. Delenn distancing herself from the Minbaris and her role in the Earth Minbari War.
There is no in between.
Soft playing this whole thing. Not a good look. I'm 100% on Jakar's side in this.
Of what?
This conversation, this whole, hey, we asked you for help. Thanks for the tea, and thank you for your honesty.
She is being honest. And here's the thing. I think Jakar is wrong.
Okay.
He just said a statement. Without someone else intervening, we will exterminate them or they will exterminate us. We will kill them all or they will kill all of us. He said there's no in between. On the one hand, he could just be stating a fact. It's like when somebody looks at me and says, hey, I'm going to need you to remember to do this thing. And I'm like, that ain't going to happen.
Right.
I'm not being willful about that. I'm just telling you it's not going to happen. Like, I've been down this road a lot. I know how this is going to play out. For Jakar, and here's where I disagree with him. There is no in between. There is no hope for Jakar on this one.
Yeah.
The idea, like, Jakar is not trying to work towards peace. He is just trying to get somebody else to come in and solve this stuff. Also, he could just be stating fact.
Right? I mean, it's the way things look, but I think 100% agree. This whole conversation between Jakar and Delenn boils down to dualistic, binary, either or thinking with no gray area and no in between. And that just leads to awful things.
Yeah, and Suzanne points out, perhaps this is why Kosh says that neither the Centauri or the Narn should survive.
Yeah.
Effectively is what they say. Which one are you talking about, the Centauri or the Narn?
Yes.
I think this is where we discovered that the Narn can't fight.
Break it up!
Hey, Kanicki!
Pipe down. And you, move. You two, come on, move. Go on.
Why is it the Narn are getting pushed out and the Centauri get to stay there?
Somebody had to get pushed out.
They threw the bottle.
I can see that, yeah.
The other guys just talked. They threw the bottle. But this is where, frankly, and I have a very strong opinion on this one, they both contributed to that event. Both need to have the same response. They both need to be ejected from the bar. You both contributed. Yes, they may have threw the thing, but you were doing what you did to cause. Again, you didn't throw the bottle. They're responsible for that. But your word. Oh, there it is. Because of the words you have said, you brought that on yourself.
Well,
they're responsible for what they did. You brought that on yourself.
I would say it like this. If they had not said the words they said, the bottle would not have been thrown. It's not that you said it, so it's no. Yeah. If they hadn't been said, this wouldn't happen. You both.
Yeah, that's not victim blaming. Nia says that she'd love a conversation between Mr. Carr and season 5.
I am Corelil Mirzan of the Lumati.
That'd be interesting.
And you are?
I am Corelil Mirzan.
JMS I'd read as I was preparing for myself, and now it's your job, but he talked about this interview he saw, and I forget all the specifics, but there was an American reporter who was interviewing some ambassador, dignitary, or official from some other country. And it was clear that when the reporter asked their questions, the person understood exactly what they were saying, but they never spoke. All responses came from the translator. And it was just basically this whole thing. And he's like, oh my gosh, I have to put this into the show somehow. And thus the Lumati were born.
Did she just do the Picard thing? She did. She did the Picard thing.
With a little mustard on it.
Certain things are hard.
I think it was Nia who brought it up earlier, the debut of the Black Jacket.
You better tell me right now so that I can have them thrown off this station and sent somewhere else.
Oh yeah, he hit him right where it counts there.
Uh-huh.
And Sheridan's right. Like, they have the right to defend themselves. There's nothing to defend at that point.
The way for one race to help another is to allow evolution to run its course.
To give them their bootstraps from which they will pull themselves up.
All right, Ben says the Lumati philosophy is kind of similar to the Shadows, and I disagree with Ben. I think the Lumati present a third option to the Vorlon Shadow idea. The Vorlons talk about, we're going to move society along, we're going to move evolution along through order and through organization and this sort of stuff, right? Shadows say we're going to move evolution along through conflict and chaos and that sort of stuff. These guys say we're going to move evolution along through non-interference, through non-action. By being on neither side, we're just going to let it happen. Whoever survives is the one who survives, and good for you.
It's almost like what Sheridan says when he wins. We're not playing your game. But the difference is they are playing the game. Just the way they're playing it is through non-interference.
And the way Sheridan plays his game is by not playing the game.
Well, he's just, we're not doing this. Texas, Alan Shock in the chat brings up such a great point for my Mass Effect people out there. Javik, one of the Protheans, like this is very much the Prothean mindset as well. You're either one of us or you're not. Now that means we may enslave you. That means you may be worthy of becoming one of us, but you are Prothean or you aren't whatsoever, which was their downfall in their cycle of the Reapers because they were so homogenized in their culture and in their ways and everything. They just got beat. It was the diversity of the modern galaxy.
What? Homogenization, not a good thing?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's been a long time since we've had a good Mass Effect reference from you, Jeff.
I know, and I thank Texas for queuing that one up for me.
I'm sure they will pass with time.
You'll get better.
I love that line.
Right.
You've got some strange ideas, but I'm sure they'll pass with time.
I also love this too because it shows why Franklin is not a diplomat.
I will make sure that it's chemically inoffensive.
That's a great line.
A moment of joy. I want me to be happy.
I want a taste of the past.
Me and me to be happy for you.
Yeah, our just humanity and relationship.
Why is everyone here walking around like they're afraid of me?
Because maybe we are.
I would never threaten you.
That was Garibaldi being a good friend right there, being very honest.
I don't know you anymore, Londo.
That was my good friend, Mr. Garibaldi.
Here's a question.
Friends, is it not?
Is he saying this to her, or to himself?
Yeah, she just happens to be there. It really is sad. It's the real Londo trying to peek out.
But these outbreaks of
Well, this is where
violence
JMS
are
talked about. You got to
jeopardizing
pull
our
them back a
chance to
little
make
bit and
allies with the
show.
humans and all the other.
This is a bit of Jakar
We've never been in this position
pulling
before.
back a little bit.
We pushed the Centauri off Norn through a war of attrition. So if you're interested in showing how strong you are, I suggest you return home and join the military.
That's a great response.
It's easy to talk about being strong here.
And when we finish, there must not be one Centauri left alive on this station.
It is here where I feel obligated to point out something that we have talked about often here at Bad Nerds. We've talked about it on Star Trek before. We've talked about it on Babylon 5 before. We've talked about it on Stargate. I'm sure we talked about it on Crusade and any other places where you and I may have had a conversation. I've talked about this in other places. It is wrong every time to strip individuals of their humanity and lump them together as a single group based on something that binds them together.
Yeah.
In sci-fi, it's almost always their race of alienship. In real life, it's almost always your race of the color of your skin, or it's the gender of your body, or the transgender of your body and the choice that you make, or it's the person that you decide to love, or it's the color of your hair, or it's the nation that you come from, or whatever, or it's the political side that you lean towards, or it's something of that nature. Oh, it's everyone on the left. Oh, it's everyone on the right. Oh, it's all of you Russians, or all of you Jews, or all of you Germans, or all of you Americans, or all of you Canadian. Okay, nobody's ever been mad at the Canadians before.
Wow.
Nobody. No. Canadians are cool, man. Like, they love everybody, and that's just awesome. And no, I don't know. That there might be. But my point being, when you strip individuals of their humanity and hold them accountable for the actions of a race, of an entire group of people, and you lump them together, you serve to make these broad statements that may not apply to that one.
Right.
Or to that one. Or to that one. Also, you know what happens when you do that? You make it easier to hate. You never make it easier to love.
Exactly.
You only make it easier to hate when you strip the individuality away and lump them together as a group. And we do great damage and disservice to our human race, to our country, to humanity as a whole, when we do not acknowledge their individuality, but we lump them together based on some demographic check mark that they put on a box on a census form. We're going to blanketly kill all of the Centauri. There must not be a single Centauri.
Not one.
Why do you have a death sentence? Simply by virtue of your parentage, your lineage. That is wrong every single time.
That's what we were talking about earlier. They're all going to die because of things that are happening on the other side of the galaxy. I'm just chilling here on Babylon 5. I actually have a really cruddy job. Like, I go to all the time. I'm just trying to earn enough money to send my kid to school, or whatever, eat, showing up. I read about the war in the news. I have an opinion, whatever, but I'm not doing anything. I just show up every day. And now I'm going to die because of all that. And I think it really, again, boils down to what we were talking about earlier too, where when you put everyone in their group, whatever that group is, strip them of their individuality, their humanity, you've now created either or thinking that can only result in hate. If I am this checkbox and you are that checkbox, how does that result in anything other than I hate that other checkbox? I love this one and I hate that one.
Well said. I love the ones like me. I hate the ones not like me.
Tauri left alive on this station.
No Tauri left alive. That's a problem.
Oh, were you waiting for someone?
Yes, you saw him say he might come. You were right there.
Someone. All perfectly understandable given the temptation of our company.
Given the temptation of our company.
Privacy.
You have many of these?
Yeah.
Is that Natoth?
I think so.
That looks like Natoth.
But
If that was real Natoth, she would have busted heads right there.
We have to decline their request for intervention.
To support
Bad
their
Natoth.
military
We're gonna call her
campaign,
Futoth.
Just lend a hand to
Natoth.
save their civilian population when they get caught in the middle.
Planning to attack the Centauri here.
Shruck. Are they armed?
He said Shruck also. How did we miss Shruck?
Poison tips.
When?
About 2 human hours.
This has to be
Also,
stopped at the
they never
source.
use it again after
They've
this.
rejected my authority. I have to reclaim it.
You create a workforce without a power base to challenge you. Well,
Does that sound at all like anything that's happening, I don't know, right now in our world and society?
Not at all, Jeff.
Not even a little bit.
Nothing that could lead to anything bad or uprisings.
I had two thoughts on this scene. One is that exactly, where like they are describing exactly the economic realities of our world today.
Mhm.
And two, of everything the Lumati say and do in this episode, this is the filthiest. This is the worst. Like, not only are we not going to bother ourselves with you, we're going to fully exploit you to the point of like extinction. She's like, she's disgusted.
Discuss the terms of our alliance.
Oh, hell.
That's intended as an honor. I'm speaking
We know
to
where
you,
the
and she's
Centauri
just
can be found.
disgusted by the whole
The
thing.
casino.
Yeah.
The Zocalo.
I think what really is more disgusting than anything is you're going to talk to me now. It appears that we are more alike than we are dissimilar.
This is the thing.
And now it took you this long. It's kind of insulting.
Oh,
like
very.
just all the way around, it's insulting. And it's like, oh, now you want to talk to me. Well, you know what? You're not my equal.
Exactly.
So don't go off.
So I'm going to go get my interpreter because I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
Because that solves things.
Yeah, we're down below. Somebody here will do it for a couple bucks. Like,
there you go. I want one of those guys.
They are creatures of the night.
I want to watch two kangaroos fight and see if it's anything like this at all.
Oh my god. It's like the worst. Narn fighting. Did you see how weak this Phototh she's just like gut tap, backhand.
Right.
If that what's that lady's name? Julie Caitlin something or
I
other?
forget.
If that was her, dude, that would not have like it would have been a backhand, but it would have been a backhand through the sternum.
Right. She would have found a wrench that would have happened to be there.
She would have used an elbow. Like, come on, and a knee, and probably her skull, and
then crouched.
Dude,
Seagal
elbows aren't supposed to bend that way.
Now! If peace on this station is the only way to win the war at home, then peace we will give them!
If peace on the station is the only way to win the war at home, then peace we will give them? That requires some thought.
So he's doing peace at the Centauri.
But you realize this violates your government's recommendation.
And this is as unofficial as you can get.
It's like, Delenn, let me introduce you to John
If
Sheridan.
we do this right, there won't be any fingerprints leading back here. But Ambassador, I've learned the hard way that governments deal in matters of convenience, not conscience. Thank you.
Aw.
I'm curious, though, what changed between her conversation with Jakar and her conversation with Sheridan that now she's willing to do something? Is it the removal, the absence of Jakar from the equation?
No, I think it's their fingerprints can't be traced back to us. Also, here's the thing. Somebody else is taking the lead, which will go into a message that I had later, because what did Jakar say to Sheridan at the beginning of the episode? If you take a stand, the rest will follow. He went to Delenn. She's not the one that others will follow.
No, you're right.
He said to Sheridan, and yes, at the time it sounded like he was talking about Earth. If Earth takes a stand, the others will follow, but that's not what it was. Sheridan, if you take a stand, others will follow.
We really see that play out through the series as well, right? You know, one of the things, the thing,
yes,
the thing I've taken heat for is my assessment of Delenn in a lot of situations. But in those situations, there's a gap, there's a vacuum in leadership she's trying to fill, and people just don't follow. Whereas Sheridan steps in and he forms an interstellar alliance because I'm John Sheridan. He is that leader that people will follow.
Although, to be fair, Sheridan didn't really form the Interstellar Alliance either, if memory serves. The Interstellar Alliance was formed while Sheridan was being tortured, because it was while he was being tortured that, correct me if I'm wrong, but in that he was being tortured, and that's when Delenn, Londo, and Jakar came together and said, "Hey, we gotta come together. We've got to do this other new thing." Now, Sheridan may have been sowing those seeds. Sheridan may have had those conversations that we just never saw before that moment. But it was finally no, we've got to come together to do all this.
Well, I think that's a thing where, similar to this, someone else actually had the initial idea, right? Jakar had the initial idea here. We got to do something. We have to. There, they had the idea of the alliance. It's Sheridan who can run it across the finish line. There's visionary leadership, and then there's operational, transformative leadership, and they're not always the same, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that it's him having that vision. It's him having the ability to execute the vision, and that's what he does here. Pieces all, it brings everything together.
Yeah, but even look what's happening while he's away. These people come together, knowing Sheridan's the leader.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting this. Yeah, we're going to form around this guy who's not even in the middle of this conversation right now.
Which I think lends, not for this episode, but for future ones when this happens, the idea of leadership, and specifically charismatic leadership, which opens up a whole conversation when we get into Frank Herbert's Dune. No, I just find it interesting. Delenn's like, nope. Well, okay.
Although I don't know that I would necessarily describe John Sheridan as charismatic.
What?
I don't know that I'd describe him as charismatic.
Suzanne puts it best in the whole thing. It's his smile. Like that alone.
Charming, yes. But he like Sheridan is very down to earth. He's very
he can live in both places. He's very bro.
He can do the rah-rah speech.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not this big magnanimous personality. Like we see that time and again. He's not this thing. People may have an image of him as that thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what he is really. Which is why I think he's actually effective at it.
Because he's not actually.
He's not just the charismatic leader. He's not the cult of personality. He's the real deal. Yeah, that's what makes Sheridan different.
He brings the whole package. But people come on board because he's got a great smile. And later on, he has really great
voice.
Hair.
I mean, that
with Babylon 5,
gosh. And the hair swoop that he gets later.
Using his office to conclude the deal. Maybe we could just put a pin in this right now, and I can.
That's exactly what he wants to do.
We can finalize this then.
Oh my gosh.
Of course. He'll announce it all over the station as proof that the Narn are barbarians.
That was great.
The trial is.
I wonder if he really just did that off the top of his head, or if he had Londo say, like Peter Jurczyk say it and try to imitate it.
Let's find out.
This couldn't possibly be any worse.
That, Brent, was an ad-lib by Jerry Doyle. So here in the actual script, it says he was supposed to say, Garibaldi, he'll announce it all over the station as proof that the Narns are doing Londo, is what it says, barbarians. Period. He did the rest. That's great. Go Doyle.
You know what I love is we hear about this on particularly Star Trek all the time, where if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. And if you were to say something like that, they would have to like call the writers and get sign-offs and all that sort of stuff. I don't know that they had to do that. I mean, JMS might have been right there and be like, yeah, go ahead and do it. That's fine. But the idea that that could happen. Again, we said it earlier. I love that JMS allows the actors to influence their character and their characters' arcs.
I'll catch you later.
Well, we talked a lot about how like Franklin kind of being the bro here, and like at this point in time, it wouldn't be a question of like, oh, you shouldn't have to do that. It's a question of how are you going
Sheridan
to do
wants
that?
to see you and Ambassador Delenn in private.
Oh, I remember this scene. We're going to see peak Kotsulis here in a moment.
Okay, so is he laughing or crying here?
Yes.
That's the correct answer. It's both.
Yeah.
He's JMS addresses that. He's laughing at the absurdity and he's crying. It's about as close as we'll ever get to seeing a Narn having a nervous breakdown.
I just am so impressed with the acting. I mean, how much he was able to convey in that like 40-second moment without any words. Everything. He's so excited. He's so relieved. He's heartbroken. He has no hope and hope.
Yeah.
Everything at once.
Boom shabba lubba lubba, boom shabba lubba lubba. Hey there, 3 bags full. Drink shabba lubba lubba, kiss, 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 kiss.
Like I was trying to play along.
How do you like it so far?
The fact that he's anywhere nearby
God, you
this,
guys.
What do I do now?
I love that he shakes her hand.
I want to think he was like game recognized game.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his going out shirt on.
Thanks for what you did. Even if only for a little while.
They both know what's coming.
Right?
You know, it's so interesting to me that we get a, you know, hey, what in the world's going on with Mr. Garibaldi thing going on? And it's Jakar.
Yeah.
You know, in the future, who's all about him and not Londo. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. Is that friend? In that moment, it just showed the power of their friendship.
Unfortunately, we never really got their friendship, did we?
Londo and Garibaldi.
Yeah. No. Jakar and Garibaldi.
I don't think we really did. That
one kind of came out of left field all of a sudden, right?
Well, no, it made sense because Garibaldi did the same things he did for Londo. He listened. He was there. He problem solved. He was just a good dude, which is a thing Jakar, much like Londo, wasn't accustomed to. Well, Brent, that's acts of sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm curious what your thoughts are, but I'm definitely seeing this episode in a different light the second time around. There's a lot. We unpeeled a lot of it in our first viewing, but on the second viewing, I think there's a lot more, at least, that I got out of it. What about you?
The question I have at this point is fast forward 60 episodes, 70 episodes, whatever it is we have left. Will I remember this one again?
I'll tell you what you will remember subconsciously, and I think that's the intent, is that we love Londo. Londo is a person that we want to see pull through and win as Londo, not as Londo Molari.
We see the real Londo here, the guy who really doesn't like the platitudes of his fellow countrymen.
Exactly.
He thinks he does, but they don't really appeal to him. The Londo who really just wants to have friends, who just wants to have a drink and isn't burdened by the political aspirations. But we also see the political aspirations coming for him.
Yep.
And it breaks our heart when he gives into it because we're like, dude, you forgot how to dance. You were so close to remembering how to dance, man.
Right there. It's the life you want versus the life that's thrust upon you.
And this is an episode that if Babylon 5 was made today with 10 episodes a season, this would not be an episode.
I agree. Because I think the other thing this episode does is it gives us a view of Jakar that lets him start transitioning from, like, we saw him as evil, the clearly, you know, the reptile dude who's always going to be the bad guy. Then we saw that switch when, you know, he got attacked. No, he's a marsupial, and we can look at him in a different light. But this kind of brought those two together in a way that's really meaningful moving forward. Also, we see that happen. This was a pavement laying episode that, in a 10, 13 episode season, the pavement would just be there.
This is a character building episode, even if you don't know why it's building the characters. This is an episode that pays dividends seasons down the road because of the work that it does. And it's not even memorable, which honestly, Jeff, isn't that the sign of brilliance?
I think it really is. Absolutely.
Yes, Joe, I'm talking about you. It is the sign of brilliance. The fact that you can give me something that doesn't seem, and I'm sorry to describe your work as forgettable, but go with me on this. It doesn't seem significant at the time. You may not be able to put your finger on it, but this does something like, this is an Inception level episode. It puts these things into your subconscious. It puts these things into your brain so that when you think these thoughts later on, you don't even realize that this is where they came from. You just think this is what this person is. But I think you're right, Jeff. This is a pavement laying episode that 60, 70 episodes down the line, I don't know that I'm going to remember the pavement, but it's going to have impacted the viewing like anything else. I didn't listen to our messages portion of the conversation from the first time it go around. I do remember the conversation we had about Ivanova and just the dignity that people should have, and they should never have to go through this.
Right, exactly.
Frankly, that part of the episode on this watch meant nothing to me. It was so
Just over here.
It was just over there on the side. It was a funny moment for Ivanova. That's all it was. And it really didn't have the impact that I thought it did on the first watch, at least not to me this time. I remember everything I said, and I still stand by everything I said the first time. I'm not going to rehash it. I do think this episode had some other really important things to say that we probably missed the first time around, many of which we covered during the episode.
And I think that's so much of it for me was that there was a lot to unpack in the Londo stuff, the G'Kar stuff. There's a little bit of stuff to unpack in the Lumati stuff. But our first time around, we really focused on that Lumati stuff because that seemed to be important in some way.
Well, but here's what you and I know right now. The Lumati never return.
Exactly. And we kept,
this could have been the introduction of a new key race in the series.
This could have been a whole story about how this superior race learns from we inferior races and then becomes a part of the galactic whole and contributes and does all this stuff. But no, it's just, we have to fill, 40 some odd minutes of an episode. And so let's do this.
Hey, you remember that first episode that we got Lorian?
The first time around? Yeah.
Yeah. How important did he wind up becoming?
He became critically important.
That's what I mean. And how many episodes did we see him in?
I don't know.
Maybe 7?
Yeah, 6, 7, something like that.
Okay. Zathras. Remember when we first met Zathras?
Mm-hmm.
We only saw him in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But man, did he have an impact.
He sure, yeah. Huge.
Going through the first time, you're aware that everybody you meet could come back later and could have an impact on the show. So you give undue importance to them. You and I watching this the second time around, we know these guys never come back. So you know what? We don't really think too much about their particular story.
Yeah.
What are the messages you found this time around? Maybe we talked about it. Maybe we didn't talk about it. Summarize it if we have already talked about it, but if not, dive into it. What'd you find?
I think I found this time that we didn't find last time. And honestly, I found this in the Lumati. No, this was in Sheridan who said this one. And I just thought this is so profound. Governments deal in matters of convenience, not conscience. Conscious. For those of you that know, I've recently started a new position with the government that's relatively high up there. And I got to tell you, man, it's disappointing how much we lean towards convenience instead of doing the hard work or having the hard conversations. And this isn't a reflection on the company I work for. This is a reflection on corporate and governmental culture at a certain point. It's, how's this going to look? How's this going to sound? How do we this thing? As opposed to actually doing things that matter. And to me, it wasn't so much a message it was a message in terms of a mirror to society. I think this episode had a lot of mirrors to society in it. The Lumati down and down below, which we discussed. But I think so much of it too. I mean, when we talked about this during the episode, because I won't dive in, but just that trap of either or thinking. It took so much for Sheridan to be able to come in with hey, here's a different idea. And it took a Sheridan to move that forward. And I just think that's so disappointing. That all could have happened in the very first conversation when G'Kar was talking with the Earth crew, if they hadn't just been focused on the passion, the emotions, the anger, the convenience, not the conscience of what was going on. Let's talk about what we can actually do.
There's always that conversation, and I try to do this with my kids. I practice this with my kids a lot. They come to me, Dad, can we do this? I don't want to be the dad who always says no. So I really try, and I think I'm fairly decent at it, to say, no, we can't do that, but here's what you can do. And I don't make it, no, you can't go play all day, but you can go clean your room. Like, it's not that sort of a thing. It's hey, Dad, can I invite so-and-so over and have a sleepover tonight? Now, baby, we can't do that tonight, but maybe we can look at that for next weekend or the following weekend, or maybe instead of them spending the night here, maybe you could spend the night there. And I know there's a whole thing. Some parents don't let their kids spend the night. That's fine. That's you do you. That's an example. It's an example. But to sit there and go, hey, you have to get involved and you got to run these patrols. Yeah, we can't do that. But what can we do?
A lot of it's finding the actual thing. So to use the spending the night example, because I like it, it's one I experience as well. It's not actually the spending the night that's the important thing. It's the spending time with their friends.
There it is.
Right. So you boil it down with G'Kar in this situation. It's not military intervention. It's help in some form or another.
Yeah. What are you really asking for?
Exactly. I think I teach us a lot with and support it with the teams I work with. There's the adage that the customer is always right. And I'm like, yeah, they're actually almost never right. The customer has an idea of what they want. If you're an actual professional, you will help them, not in a like manipulative, let's upsell them kind of way, but in a true problem solving way, find out what they actually really want and then point them to that thing.
Yeah.
So if it's about spending time with your friends, cool. We can talk about how you can do that. Spending the night's not on the table, but there's these other things. Yeah, we can't give you mines and drones and cruisers and soldiers, but you said you needed help, right? So here's some food we can give you. Here's some transport. Find the commonality. Find the real thing you truly want. Did you find any other ones you wanted to touch on?
I feel like we probably mentioned this the first time around just because it's the kind of thing we would mention the first time around, but the line of Sheridan at the very beginning, the first casualty of war is the truth.
Yeah.
Something I feel like we see is when war starts or the build up to war. There's let me take this even back. Let's go to history. Jeff, how familiar are you with the Hatfields and the McCoys?
Not terribly, but a bit.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, the Hatfields and McCoys were two families that lived basically on the border of Kentucky and West Virginia back in the day. And they got into a feud. It's one of the most infamous family feuds, not the game show, an actual real life family feud. And basically it was one person killed somebody on the other side of the family. And so their surviving relatives came and killed the other person. And then they went and killed another person. They just went back and forth. There's a great mini series on it a bunch of years ago called Hatfields and McCoys, or just Hatfields or something like that.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I'm related to the Hatfields.
Really?
Through marriage, not by blood, but that would be the side that but I am close enough to that area that I know this. But here's the thing. The atrocities, and if memory serves, I'm trying to get this right. I want to say it was the Hatfields it was the McCoys who killed a Hatfield first.
Okay.
But that was also out of response to the atrocities the Hatfields were committing upon the McCoys as a family.
Yeah.
So when the first person was killed, whichever side it was, it doesn't really matter. When the first person was killed, all of a sudden it was, they just came and killed our guy. This guy who was a father and had children, and now we're going to miss him. And we can't let that stand. They just came and killed our guy who was a good guy. There was a reason they came and got him. Oh, he was, again, the casualty of the truth. Yes, he was a father. And yes, this is terrible. And yes, there's all the good things he did, but here are all the bad things that kind of go back to what I said earlier. He's not responsible for somebody coming and killing him, but he also kind of brought it on himself. Those two things can exist, right?
At the same time.
And then when the second murder happened and they went and got him back, hey, this was just vengeance for what happened with our guy. We're clean now. You came and killed our guy. He did that because of whatever he was justified. You guys had no justification to come and do this. And now you killed our guy. So we got to go get you. Again, the casualty of the truth. You forget the other side of the stuff of what's going on, right? You're just, we're going to highlight this person, we should honor this person and fly flags at half mast and all this. But wait, when this other person got killed, we never did any of that stuff. So what
is it? Yeah. What is
one person's a martyr? The other person is, they brought it on themselves. What are we going to be? Point being, the first casualty of war is the truth. And that's where people, I think, justify the war. That's how you justify the war, is by you forget the parts of the truth that really that don't lend credibility to your war.
That's where I would almost reframe what Sheridan said, as opposed to it being the first casualty of war. It's the casualty that leads to war.
I do want to just highlight really quickly. I won't dwell on it. We talked about it during the mid episode, but Jakar says to Sheridan at the very beginning, if you take a stand, the rest will follow. And my comment at the time was, never underestimate your influence. And I think that's true. Never underestimate your influence, folks.
I like that a lot.
Never underestimate your influence, because people will follow. Again, we thought at the time we're talking about Earth. If Earth takes a stand, the other governments will follow. Okay, well, that's not going to happen.
Right? Nope.
But when Sheridan took a stand, the Minbari followed.
Again,
others followed.
To build on a conversation we had before, we were thinking in terms of the big checkbox, the checkbox of Earth, when Earth does this, but it was the individual, Sheridan, that people followed. So it's not just in dehumanizing, it's also in noticing the humanity that I'll follow that. This big checkbox over here, no, actually I hate them. I hate that checkbox. I like that person.
I love the line of the Lumati. It appears we are more similar than we are dissimilar. We interrogated that a little bit earlier. I won't go back to that again. But Jakar also says this, and I don't even know what to do with this, Jeff. I don't even know what to do with this. I got to think about it more.
Okay.
Jakar says, if peace is the only way to win the war at home, then we will give them peace.
Yeah.
Or then peace we will give them, I think is the exact line. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how that applies to life right now. You know?
Well, let me try to unpack it a little bit. So if we take away kind of break it down, what he's saying is, if there's only one way to win the war, we'll do that thing. So what is the thing he wants? To win the war. He's focused on winning the war. They could say, if the only way to do it is to eat all the ice cream in the Zocalo, we will eat all the ice cream in the Zocalo. It sounds nice because it's about peace. If giving them peace is the only way to win, then we'll give them peace. I almost boil that down to a point of, it's a by any means necessary. We will win this war. And I think to Jakar, winning the war is still destroying the Centauri.
Well, he said earlier that they fought the Centauri the first time through a war of attrition.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to outlast them until it's no longer worth it to them to be here. It's what worked the first time. I think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You think of Gandhi, two people that led movements based upon the same ideology of nonviolence.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to push back. We're just going to be here. You want to hit us, you want to beat us, you want to do whatever, you go ahead and do that, but we're going to be here. And we're just going to keep staying until we break your will.
Yep.
Until you folks out there see how awful this is. We're just going to let you do this to us. We're not going to fight back. Occurs to me we might be seeing that somewhere in the world today, honestly, as well. That shows how bad other people can be and turns everybody else against you till we get what we want. But that's honestly what I kind of think JMS might have been hearkening to when he said this.
Yeah.
Is, listen, if this is how we got to do it, not fighting, but by not fighting, which, oh my God, that's the answer that we get from Sheridan in season 4.
Exactly.
We're not going to fight you anymore. We're just not going to do this anymore. How are we going to fight you? By not fighting. We're not participating in this anymore.
I like that so much because it's we've talked about this before again, but when you fight fire with fire, you just get more fire. Nobody wins, right? And so it's that thing of, if we fight them conventionally, the way they're fighting us, there will just be more fighting. And frankly, they will win. They have more resources than we have, but it will just be more bloodshed and everything. And
well, and here's the other thing. Okay, you can fight fire with water. That would seem pretty good. But what happens when you run out of water?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when water is not near? Another way to fight fire? Suck all the oxygen out of the room.
Take the fuel away.
Then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
How can you fight fire with fire? Take the fuel away? Yeah, we burn. You have controlled burns.
Yeah.
That are meant to take the fuel away. So there's nothing to burn, right? Like, that's what I got, Jeff.
Cool. Well, you got to have one more thing, Brent, because you do. This is on you this week.
All right.
So we are creating the definitive, the immutable, the objectively correct ranking of all the episodes in the second season of Babylon 5 as we watch it for the second time. In our notes, we always list the top 5 in this one, but I'm gonna take a guess and think that this one might land in a little bit of a different spot. Okay. So I'm gonna start at number 8. Our number 8 episode is A Distant Star. Number 7, Points of Departure. 6 is Gropos. Number 5 is All Alone in the Night. And then 4th, we have A Race Through Dark Places. Brent, where are you going to place Acts of Sacrifice?
Jeff, one of the things about when you have a partnership with somebody and you've been around each other, you know each other so well. You don't have to say things. I know what they're thinking and I know where this is going to go. And you're absolutely right. You're right there. This is an episode, Jeff, that upon further reflection, upon second viewing, you have an entirely different experience of.
Yeah.
And it means something very different to you this time around. I think that's really where this is. Is this a top tier episode? No, it's not. Is it a bottom tier episode? No. Was it a bad episode? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Is it doing something and saying something we didn't even really see or catch before? Yeah. So that's the group this episode is going to find itself in. And when I look here and I look at episodes that said something that we picked up on more than what we could find the first time around, there's one episode that glares out at me was I look here. Probably because it's in all caps, but also because of that same function. And that's Gropos.
Yeah.
Gropos was an episode you and I very much wrote off the first time around. In fact, that to me, Gropos was the turning point of season 2.
Yep.
Once we got past Gropos, the rest of season 2 was great. This is another episode where I could sit back and go, but better than Gropos was. Is it better than Gropos is now? I think this is, I don't know. I really liked Gropos this time around.
Yeah. We liked it the first time around as well, just as a stand. I guess, yeah, it was great.
It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
We liked Keffer because of it, you know?
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think I still like Gropos more than I do this one.
Yeah.
I think this is just going to come down to which episode would I want to watch again first. And Gropos is that to me. Although I kind of like this is that thing was you put them both in you put them both in a bag, you shake up the bag, pull one out, and you're probably not wrong.
You're good to go.
Yeah, I think you're good to go. So in the official ranking, because I would rather see Gropos first, Gropos is going to stay at number 6. This is going to slot into our new number 7 spot, Jeff.
Dig it. Well, Brent, that's going to do it then for Acts of Sacrifice. Next week, we're watching Hunter Prey for the second time. Do you happen to remember what you predicted that Hunter Prey was going to be about?
Oh man, this was one where I said it was a Vorlon episode. And I said Kosh is going to be chasing somebody, and my prediction was it was Mr. Morden. Kosh was coming after Mr. Morden. That was my thought. What about you?
I thought somebody was going to come onto the station and set up a business hunting lurkers, like a Island of Dr. Moreau, kind of like, let's go hunt people kind of a thing.
Interesting. Jeff, we forgot to do something. If I want to rewind this just a bit, one thing we do typically, and we didn't do it this time, is where did Acts of Sacrifice find its final ranking the first time around?
First time around, it came in at number 18. Yeah. Right below there, All the Honor Lies, and above, and Now for a Word.
So this is now number 7. We are 12 episodes into the season.
Mm-hmm.
We have 10 episodes left. So if every episode from here on in is better than this episode, this could get down to number 17 and be right there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where this episode, quote unquote, falls to, or rather just gets pushed down because of the quality of the rest of the episodes left.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, in number 16 was Gropos. So in relation to each other, we're not that far off.
We're not that far off. Well, listen, 100% accurate all the way around.
Every single time.
We know what we're professionals here.
Professionals at this. I mean, you can't argue with it. There's no real ground to stand on. Well, Brent, next week, Hunter Prey right here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us and watching this episode with us. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Leave us a rating, leave us a review, comment, however you can. Interact with us. We love when that happens. And if you want to follow the calling of your heart and be of service, please share this show with someone who loves Babylon 5 and needs to watch it again with these two yahoos watching it right now. So until next time, thanks for hanging out.
Jeff.
Yes, Brent, what is up?
Hey, is this the last time we see Natoth?
Yeah, I think this is the last Natoth until the 5th season.
Good. Because I don't know why the schruck they stuck with her this long.
I always love how long
every time.
Every time.
Every time. Do you have it on your side over there?
Where would it be?
It's in media. It's in media assets. And then it's down under video clips.
Yeah, and there it is. There it is.
You have in credits 2025-08.
Yep.
Is what it should say. Okay, so we need to work this out because then you typically have the. So this is one of those that you and I got to work that out because
it's got to be the person who's not ending it who hits it.
Yes, it has to be that because it's too awkward. Knowing that we both have access to it when I upload it, then awesome. Because it could be you, it could be me, either way.
Exactly.
I literally I was waiting for you to give me the crying out loud or something.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't put a Stargate tag on it. I was just like, we're gonna shrug.
I understand now because I was like, oh no, that's the smash cut. That makes sense. Like I got it. It just I read this. I'm glad you put that in there because Jeff wrote the ending today, guys. I completely forgot about the ending until I saw that over there.
We tend to forget about it on this one, much more so than over on Stargate, which I still forget quite a bit. But
hey, Jeff, you know how I know we're getting old?
How's that?
Because Club 65 has kind of moved to Club 64. Like what we did in the pre-show for the 15-20 minutes before we actually started recording
is what this used to be.
Is what we would normally do right here in Club 65. I think it's just by the time we get to the end, we're tired.
Well,
we're old.
This is the thing. Like, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing this. We are 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 54 seconds into the record right now.
Yeah.
And we hung out for a while beforehand.
And we did.
And I have desperately needed to use the restroom since before the halfway mark of the episode.
You and me both. So we're going to get out of here. Drop 65 or 64.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah.
Let us know that you were here. And we'll catch you guys next week on Babylon 5 for the second time. Pieces, guys.
We will see ya.